Okay, good morning, everybody. Can you just give a thumbs up if you can hear me okay?
Morning, Ajahn.
Okay.
Ajahn, actually, the students who active just only 19 students. So I will update the list and send to you again because many of them are keep quiet.
Okay. So, hi. Are you, I can just start. What is the plan?
Yes, Kante, if you are ready to teach you, you can start.
Yes, I am Lady.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This is our course on Vipassana meditation, and I'm fairly sure that all of you have done meditation retreats. You know this subject really well. So I wanted to emphasize on not so much the knowledge of what is Vipassana and how it works, but more on how to talk about it. Because what I found is most people, especially monks, have studied this topic for a long time. You know this topic very well. You have probably practiced quite hard. But then when you come to teach about it, talk about it, many of you don't know what you are doing because the important thing is the practice of how to speak. Out of all the things that I taught in Mahajula University, I think the most useful and most practical was my public speaking class. There are certain techniques and tips that one should use when talking, when engaging in public speaking. And I split this into three groups. When you go to listen to a speaker, you have three main areas of how good you are at speaking. First is who you are. The second is organizing your information. And the third is how to deliver the words, speak clearly with emphasis. So, who you are, we cannot train. Think about this. If the Dalai Lama was running this class right now, all of you would be sitting very attentive at your computer. You would be very sharp and alert. If it's somebody famous comes into the room, you'll be very sharp and alert because you pay attention because of the status or the position of the speaker. So we cannot teach that. That just depends on who you are. So the second part of public speaking, I want to emphasize on this course for Vipassana meditation, because the thing that we really need to learn is how to verbalize, how to organize your mind. I know that you have the knowledge already. I know that you have had the practice already. I don't want to give you assignments on Satipatthana Sutta because you've done this many times before, or careful, detailed examinations about how to lift the foot and place the foot in walking meditation. The thing that I found that most people, especially monks, fall short is when they have to come to explain these concepts to other people. Most especially in English with foreigners when they come and they ask you about meditation. Suddenly you are, yeah, well, there are these Four Noble Truths and there are, and you don't know what to say. So what I want to do during this 4 classes that we have, or 4 days together, is I want to give everybody the chance and opportunity to come online on Zoom and answer some basic questions about mindfulness, or to teach it, to practice teaching it, practice putting these words and concepts into coherent sentences in a way that people will understand. There are certain things that you need to bear in mind when we are doing this. First one is called KISS, Kiss, means keep it simple, stupid. So what this means is when we are speaking, there is a tendency to use the technical terms and words that we have in our mind. There is a tendency to get philosophical about it. This is bad public speaking. We should use short, simple, clear words, clear language. I want to draw your attention to, for example, Donald Trump, one of my favorite people. When he talks in very clear, simple terms. You know what he's talking about. For example, when he was fighting against Hillary Clinton is very educated, very smart, has long sentences and big words. Donald Trump comes along and says, I will build a wall. I will build a wall. There's a really short, clear, simple sentence. He doesn't say mass immigration is affecting the gross national output of the country and has an effect of lowering wages on the working population. He doesn't say this. He just makes it nice and simple. I will build a wall. So he's a good example, whether you like him or not. He's a good example of making really clear, simple sentences, not using fancy words, not using fancy terms. This is especially important for monks because you will use the Pali words a lot. That's fine if you're talking to other monks, but if you are just trying to explain these concepts and ideas, using Pali words is definitely not a very good idea. People don't know what these words mean. So we want to, first of all, keep it simple, simple words. Keep the words short and simple and clear. Point number 1. Point number 2 is keep it in short sentences. Short, clear sentences. Let me read to you something I saw on the internet, and I want you to see if you can repeat. I'm going to ask you, after I've read this out, I want you to repeat what I've said to you. Okay, so I'm going to read this out. This is from a website explaining Vipassana meditation. It says, Vipassana is a way of self-transformation through self-observation. It focuses on the deep interconnection between mind and body, which can be experienced directly by disciplined attention to the physical sensations that form the life of the body and that continually interconnect and condition the life of the mind. It is this observation-based self-explanatory journey to the common root of mind and body that dissolves mental impurity, resulting in a balanced mind full of love and compassion. Okay. Who would like to repeat what I just said, please? Can I have a volunteer? Repeat to me what I just said. Kumirat, I see you there. Nice to see you again. I saw you a few months ago. Can you repeat what I just said?
Okay, it's a bit long and a bit a lot of jargon. Let me repeat in my understanding. Vipassana is a kind of a transformation of ourselves.
Wait. I don't want you from your understanding yet. We will come to that in a few minutes. I want you to just repeat to me what I just said to you in that sentence, the best that you can.
Okay. Vipassana is a transformation process to working with your internal self, with your body and mind, integrated by observing your deep inside, and also blah blah blah. Lost already.
Exactly. Thank you. Blah blah blah. You actually got some of the main points there, but that's because you know the subject. If you didn't know this subject, you wouldn't be able to repeat any of what I just said to you. And this is the problem, that you know the subject. We have our own understanding of the subject. We can repeat the suttas and scriptures and teachings, but can you put it into a nice, clear, simple way that people can understand? So speaking short sentences is much better. I can change what this person wrote into short sentences because his sentence is so long. His first sentence was okay. Vipassana is a way of self-transformation through self-observation. More active language is better. For example, you can say, we practice self-observation continuously, and this is the way we transform. That's an easy, nicer way to say the same sentence. His second sentence, it focuses on the deep interconnection between mind and body, which can be experienced directly by disciplined attention to the physical sensations that form the life of the body and continuously interconnect and condition the life of the mind. There's so many words in that sentence, and it has no real meaning. If you were to speak like this to a group of people coming for practice, they will have no idea what you just spoke about. That some of you can understand that sentence, that's just because you already know the subject. If you didn't already know this subject, you would have zero understanding of what I just said. To put it into more simple words, we watch with mindfulness the connection between mind and body. Short sentence. We have disciplined attention to the physical sensations of the body. Disciplined attention to the mind. By using this attention, we can purify the mind and result in a balanced mind of love and compassion. So that's just my attempt to make it a little more accessible. So this is the important thing, is to be able to form your ideas, keep your ideas simple, and be able to express them with simplicity and not using jargon. That word that Kumirat just used, jargon. For Buddhists, that means Pali words especially. The more Pali words that you use, the safer you are that nobody can criticize you. But I guarantee that most of the people that come to you and practice meditation with you won't understand what you're saying. If you do use a Pali word, you should use the translation or explanation with it. This is a little different if you are talking to people who do know Buddhism or do know meditation already. Then, in my opinion, we should start to use more Pali words, because the translations can be so variant. For example, the word asava can mean outflowing or inflowing. It can mean impurity. It can mean the sometimes translated as canker. Canker is an English word, but I guarantee 99% of English-speaking people don't know the word canker. So if you are talking to people who know Dharma already, then it is a good idea to use the key terms. Words like Dhamma or asava or satipatthana or sati sampajanya, something like that, vijnana, so that we know what we are talking about. Even word like dukkha, some of the translations vary for dukkha. One translation is suffering. Another translation is unsatisfactoriness. If you look at the translations online, you might see Venerable Thanissaro, and he uses the translation stress. Well, does dukkha mean stress? If I talk about stress, do you know that I'm talking about dukkha? So be careful to know your audience. That means, are the people listening, are they going to be familiar with these terms or not familiar? I've noticed this especially with Sri Lankans, because in Sri Lanka, you never talk about Dharma unless you first quote sutta and scripture. That is the style. It's a good style, actually. I appreciate it. But if you are not talking to other monks, then quoting the scripture or original Pali terms is not going to be useful. So, short, simple words. Formulate your ideas into short sentences. Have clear and active language. Clear and active language. This means, like when I just quoted, it focuses on the deep interconnection between mind and body, which can be experienced directly by disciplined attention to physical sensations that form the life of the body and continuously interconnect and condition the life of the mind. That's not short, clear. So active language means an action, an object, and a cause and effect. That's what people understand easily. So we pay disciplined attention to physical sensations. Okay, that's a nice, short, clear sentence. It has an action. We pay disciplined attention. It has an object, to physical sensations. I might add the sentence, this will lead to insight. We get cause and effect. So what I'm suggesting to you is to pay careful attention to the language that you are using. Short, clear words, short sentences, active sentences, using cause and effect. These are going to be much easier to understand for your listener. So then we need to organize the information of what we want to say to be clear in our own mind first, because if you are not clear in your own mind, then when you start to talk, you will not be clear to the people you are communicating with. So what I want to do during this course, we're going to go through each of the different terms and ideas. We're going to have a brainstorming session, so everybody can put their input in, and then we will write together some nice short descriptions of the terms that we are using for Vipassana, and then a longer description of what we are talking about. And then I want each person to come online and give their answers to the questions. So the questions, what is Vipassana? What is concentration? What is mindfulness? So that everybody will have that opportunity to come on to the group and give their own explanation. What I don't want you to do is to look online and read something from a website. One main reason the website can be so bad, just because it's written somewhere on a website does not mean it's correct, and it does not mean that it's well spoken. The example that I was giving you today, I just found it very quickly on one of the first answers to Google search, what is Vipassana? But even though they are correct in what they say, the explanation is very poor. It's very bad. So it's important that you use your own words. If you are going to be explaining this to people, especially in the English language, you will not be able to sit there and read off the internet. You have to explain to people directly. I did see this one time in a monastery where they have meditation retreats. And they had a retreat center is next door to the temple. Some yogis came into the retreat center, and then the woman in the retreat center leads the meditators over to the monastery, and they talk with a monk there, and his English is not very good, so he just reads off his phone like this. He reads something from a website, not even a good website. He just reads it. They can't even ask him questions because he can't understand their English. So you will have to be able to use your own words, your own understanding. Now, I know that you understand the topic. I know that you understand what meditation is, what mindfulness is, what Vipassana is. But can you answer the basic questions in a nice, simple, clear way? So that's what I wanted to focus on the first few classes. We can go through some of these terms. We can brainstorm together. We can come up with a group answer just between us in this class. Then I would ask you to write a longer piece, only 2 paragraphs, and then to come on and in front of the group and to be able to say it in front of the group. This will be really good practice for you. Believe me, when people come and start asking you about meditation, it's difficult to put across. Just recently, I did a meditation retreat, Qigong and Vipassana, and my co-teacher, she teaches the Qigong, and Qigong was not, the philosophy behind the Qigong is not so familiar to meditators. So half of the group of yogis were familiar with Qigong, but not Vipassana. And the other half were familiar with Vipassana, but not with Qigong. Now, Kumirat here, he teaches Qigong also. And so both of us, the 2 teachers, the woman teaching the Qigong and myself teaching Vipassana, we have to be very, very careful to explain things in clear, simple terms so that people aren't mixing up these two philosophies and two ideas. So, first thing that I'm going to need is the moderator for the group. I need to make me into an admin so I can do a share screen. Who is the admin here? Okay, now I'm the host.
ท่านศักดิ์สิทธิ์ยังอยู่ไหมครับท่านศักดิ์สิทธิ์
Okay, I've got it. They've done it already. I don't use a lot of Zoom, so if I'm a little slow, let me just figure out how to use my Zoom here. Okay. Now just give me a thumbs up if you can see the sheet that says what is Vipassana, what is Samadhi. Can you see that?
Yes,
That's what
Ajahn.
okay. I don't do very much Zooming, so I'm not always familiar. So we can start with we're going to go through all of these basic terms: Vipassana, Samadhi, Sati, mindfulness, what is sitting, what is walking. With all of these terms, after we define the term, we're also going to have to answer the question, why? Whenever you come to foreigners, especially Westerners, this is one of the first things that people are going to ask you is why? And for many Buddhists or many experienced yogis, we've forgotten why. We do it because we like it, or we do it because we have faith. I'll give you an example. There was some Australians came to meditate in my temple, and there was a monk assigned to teach them. And I was the translator. So the monk said to the group, okay, before we practice, you have to take the precepts. And so he came to the precepts to refrain from drugs and alcohol, surat meriya, majapamada batatana. And the Australian said to him, why do I stop alcohol? And the monk looked at him like he's crazy. Well, you're in a Buddhist monastery, you cannot take alcohol. And he said, yeah, but why do I have to stop it? It's not that the person wants to drink alcohol. He just wants to know, why can't I? Why are you telling me that I can't do this? So the monk said to him, through me as a translator, you can't drink alcohol because you might kill your parents. Now, if you are familiar with Vinaya, this story will make sense. But if you are not familiar with monks' Vinaya, this will not make sense. The story in the sutta, in the Vinaya actually, the monks' rules, was that the one monk went back to visit his family, and while he's there, he's drinking alcohol, because at that time there is no rules. No, the Buddha did not have rules. And so he goes back home and he's drinking alcohol with his family. Maybe he thinks it's polite to do. Anyway, he winds up getting so crazy and drunk that by accident he kills his parents. So then this story is in the Vinaya, and the Buddha lays down the rule. Okay, monks, you cannot drink alcohol or take drugs that affect your consciousness. So that was the story in the sutta. The monk killed his parents. But what do you think when these Australians are there and they say, why do we take the precept to refrain from alcohol and drugs? And the monk says to him, because you might kill your parents. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I had to intervene and try and explain. So this monk, one, he doesn't know his audience. Two, he can't explain things in a clear and simple way. And three, he can't explain why. For everything that you do, you need to explain why. For example, walking meditation, right goes thus, left goes thus. You've done this before. You've been instructed to do this before. But can you answer the question, why? How does it work? How does watching your left foot go thus, your right foot go thus, how does that lead to Nibbana? What are you doing it for? You need to be able to answer these kinds of questions if you're going to talk about meditation. So this is what we will be doing over the 4 days. Then next weekend, I'm going to introduce a few other topics and ideas, partly from psychology, partly from philosophy, so that we can, I want to give you some new knowledge of things that you don't know also, as well as just practicing being able to speak and put our thoughts together. So I want to, first of all, the first question, since this course is about Vipassana, I want to ask you, what is Vipassana? Somebody give me an answer. And no reading off the internet. You're not allowed to look at the internet. Use your own knowledge, right? If you can't use your own knowledge, when you are in front of somebody teaching or answering these questions, you will not be able to answer. So there's no right and wrong answer. I'm not testing your knowledge. We're just practicing being able to put your ideas into words. So what is Vipassana? Volunteer, please. First one. Just now, Kunwirat, you are going to start to answer this question, so can you answer now? Just for your own understanding in simple terms, what is it?
For me, Bhajan, I think Vipassana is the way to work with yourself for your self-transformation by observing your body and your mind. And the fact that we have to practice Vipassana, this is in order to transform ourselves, to clearly understand ourselves and the way to live our life.
Clearly. And what did you say? And transform your life.
Transform yourself. I think transform yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
One thing that I noticed that I want to point out over and over again is just now he said, in order to. Note when you use this kind of language, in order to, you're using cause and effect language, action and result in your language. This is really good public speaking. The more action and result, cause and effect you can put into your language, the easier it will be for people to understand you. There's a number of times here he said self, body and mind, presumably of yourself, to transform yourself and understand yourself. What about no self? I thought there's no self in Buddhism. So is it correct to use the term self or not? If somebody else can answer this. And remember, no right and wrong answers here. We're just putting out ideas. Venerable Sobana?
Yeah.
Yes, Pandit. It's a very clear, very simple, my opinions, my understanding. Vipassana me to understand the nature. That's it, Pandit.
Understand nature.
Yeah.
What do you mean understand it? Do you mean understand the birds and the plants?
No planet, and understand it too, nature. Like our body, mind, for everything.
Okay, so this is a good example. If you say understand nature, immediately nature means the birds and the plants and the rivers and the grass. So there's not a clear thing. I know that you know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know that I know what you mean. But this is the problem when we are talking, is to be able to put into terms that anybody will know what we mean. So you said understand nature, but what you mean is understand the nature of what? Venerable Sobana, understand the nature of what?
Our body, mind, everything, Pandit.
Body, mind, and everything.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
because
even aeroplanes, everything. Aeroplanes and Donald Trump and oceans and computers, everything. We're going to understand everything.
yeah, because Pandit, our body, we take meditation. We emphasize our mind and body. This is according to my understanding. This is just an example. Finally, we must understand our human world, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, if I want to understand the body, surely I go and study biology, and I can see there is a heart and there is a lung and there is a blood system, there is a central nervous system. I study biology if I want to know about the body. So what is vipassana? Now, again, I know that you know what you mean, and you know I know what you mean, but by the words that you used, nobody would know what you mean. So what does it mean to understand the nature of the body? And also, nobody yet answered my question, what about self? Our first answers, if you look at what you can see, I presume you can see the document, working with yourself, self-transformation, body and mind, understand body, mind. What is self and what is no self? Somebody else, please. Yes, go ahead. Emma, I don't think have we met before? I'm not sure.
No, we didn't, but very nice to meet you. I heard you by video in the last month of meditation of the university. I didn't attend the meditation retreat, but I saw you in some Dhamma talks you you did. So, in my understanding, there are two realities: the final reality and conventional reality. The self exists in the conventional reality. And when you are able to see the how the things really are, you will be able to see that there is no self. But until then, there is a self.
The question of okay, thank you. And what is what is vipassana?
For me, vipassana is the meditation that Buddha discovered, the kind of meditation that Buddha discovered to understand this ultimate reality. It's a kind of meditation. It's a kind of meditation that possibility to see the things as they really are.
The possibility to see things as they really are. And how are things really?
There are the three characteristics: impermanence, and we go on and on.
Okay, see three. Okay, thank you. So what we're doing here, we are brainstorming, and I want everybody in the class to participate. So each person one by one to come up and answer these questions. And maybe after we hear from everybody, we can piece together a nice, clear definition from what everybody has said. So far, it's very confused mess, a lot of self. Now we have no self, but apparently there is a self until we get rid of the self. Do we have a self that we have to destroy? Or is there no self there in the first place? Or is there a wrong self that we have to destroy to get to the real self? These things are very tricky concepts. We'll come back to self later on because it's one of the three characteristics. Again, of course, you mentioned three characteristics, but you are assuming that your audience knows what the three characteristics are. So this exercise that we are doing is we are trying to make a nice, clear description of what vipassana is to somebody who doesn't know Buddhism or doesn't know meditation. So the answer, three characteristics, is entirely correct, but of course is no use to somebody that doesn't already know about Buddhism. Several times you mentioned see how things really are. This is a Pali phrase, yata bhutang, which means seeing things as they really are. But the translation to say how things really are is not a very good description, because how things really are, for example, right now, I've been watching Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they are trying to reduce the size of the bureaucracy. And so they are canceling lots of crazy programs and wasted money that America has been spending. Are they seeing things as they really are? Then there are the people that don't like Donald Trump, and they say, or there is a billionaire, he's trying to make himself richer. Are they seeing things as they really are? What does it mean to see things as they really are? We have to be careful, because usually when we talk about seeing things as they really are, we're talking about opinion. My opinion is the right opinion. That's how things are. Well, when we come to Buddhist meditation, of course, seeing things as they are has nothing to do with opinion. It's not my belief or my ideas. Yatha bhutang means seeing the actual characteristics of things as they actually arise and cease in the mind. So again, seeing things as they are is a Buddhist term that has very little meaning if you are not very familiar with Dharma and Buddhism. It is correct, I should say, it is correct. Yatha bhutang is a big part of Vipassana. But it won't help people that don't understand or don't already know about Buddhism. This idea, conventional reality and ultimate reality, is a really nice entry into this discussion. Conventional reality, the world of opinions and views and ideas. But ultimate reality is what you can actually observe directly. So I like this concept, but it would need explanation. Also, ultimate reality and conventional reality is not a big part of Theravada Buddhism explicitly. So I still want a nice, clear description of what Vipassana is. Can anybody help me?
Can I try?
Yes, please.
Okay. I try to keep short and clear.
Short and simple.
Clear seeing the phenomena of mind and body are dukkha, impermanence, and non-self.
As three characteristics, right? As dukkha,
Phenomena of mind and
impermanence.
body. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, when you say the three characters, and yeah, I try to use that one, but maybe for like a beginner or some audience, they might not know what is three characters. So I try to make it clear and describe the detail of the three characters, and because this is mainly focus, and yeah, this is the only only those points different than samadhi. Yeah, this is my
Okay.
explanation.
What do you think? If somebody was new to Dharma and Buddhism, would they understand clear seeing of non-self? And I know you know what it means.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
I know what it means.
Yeah.
But is this? And also you said dukkha, impermanence, and non-self. You're mixing Pali terms and English terms. Are you talking in English or are you talking in Pali?
Okay, good point. So, because the now is just a description of vipassana, and after that we should explain more detail and explain this sentence. Should I?
Yes, please. Keep it short, but just tell us in simple terms, what is vipassana?
Now I think of only this sentence. Yeah, this is.
You see the problem here. I know you know what it means. I know you know what it is. But when someone challenges you to state in simple, clear terms, we have the problem that we know too much and then we can't put it into words. So try again. Nice, simple, clear terms and description. What is Vipassana? Your meditator fall asleep already.
I'm thinking.
I know. Shall we go to someone else while you are thinking?
Yeah, someone else first, and yeah.
Okay, I see Wu Jun up there. Can you answer the question? What is Vipassana?
Okay, let me try. Vipassana is clear observation, clearly awareness for everything. Okay, this is my definition. Clear observation.
Okay, can you, if somebody comes to you and they want to do meditation and they say, I want to practice Vipassana, and you say that is clear observation and awareness of everything, will they know what you're talking about?
Then maybe I will discuss and make a dialogue. Like, how do you feel now? Painful? Observe the painful. Like the other audience said, the self. Observe the self. Is your leg yourself? Is your feeling yourself? Is your mind yourself? Oh, maybe all it come together means yourself. So yourself is all the things come together. And what is no self? And then you separate to observe. Oh, your leg is not yourself. Your feeling is not yourself. Your idea is not yourself. Then you can observe the no self.
Okay, so are you answering the question, what is no self, or are you answering the question, what is Vipassana?
I think I explained the Vipassana through the dialogue with the audience to talk about self and no self.
Okay.
Because Vipassana is the observation clearly. And like we just discussed the self and no self. So I buy to discuss the topic and then to let the audience know what is clear observation.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm clear.
It's not very clear yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try it again.
And also, you're focusing on self and non-self, but surely Vipassana is not. I mean, self is one of the areas that we would study, but you still haven't said what Vipassana is yet. Let me say, you're correct in everything you say. I'm not challenging that you are incorrect. The problem is you are correct, but that way of explaining it is not very clear. If somebody comes along and says, I've heard this word, Vipassana, what does it mean? And if you answer, is your leg yourself or not yourself? Then
No, follow
have no idea what you're talking about.
Because we are just follow the dialogue with all the definition. So I'm trying to do it that way, but not just to define, but follow what we have said, and then to guide them to feel the how to clear observe what we talk. Okay. But maybe I just lack of some technique. But thank you for your feedback.
Okay, thank you. So far we've got all these words on screen. But we still, so far as I can see, we still haven't got a very good definition of what vipassana is. So if we can have someone else, imagine somebody has come, let's say a 15-year-old schoolgirl from England has come to you and said, I've heard that Buddhists do this thing called vipassana. What is it? So what is your answer? Can we have somebody else, please? Another volunteer.
Ajahn, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I just say something, just my opinion, maybe isn't right. Vipassana seems to me is just a tool, helps me to understand the truth. Just because before I do meditation, I don't believe in anything, and I'm not a Buddhism. But after I do meditation the first time, I just realized maybe something is different. And the first time I do meditation, still as a master, is my Ajahn. And after I done meditation, I said to my Ajahn, I just said to him, is just that I said to my Ajahn, I do really do like to do meditation, but I don't believe in Buddhism. But my Ajahn said to me, it impressed me. He said, Buddhism is in the meditation. You see the truth, you see the Buddha. I just realized maybe vipassana is a tool helps you to understand the truth. Just because you do the meditation, you acknowledge the body and the mind. You just don't to catch that meaning of non-self. In my opinion, at first you have to acknowledge there is a self because there is a body, there's a mind. You have to acknowledge your body and your mind. Through the meditation, you will see non-self, impermanent, and suffering. Just through the meditation to practice, not think about the some words non-self. When you do meditation, after you do a while, when you do sitting meditation, you will realize that some of your body will disappear. At that moment, you will realize there is non-self sometimes. And other things, I think the practice is the first thing you have to do. Oh, it's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One note, especially with public speaking, you have to be careful with this idea, just my opinion, because a lot of people, when they speak, they want to first of all say, well, please don't criticize me, or it's just my idea. But what you're doing is you are lowering your expertise. You should have an idea, and it's your idea, and you should be proud of it. So just not for you personally or particularly, but just for everybody. It is a particular part of public speaking is to speak with confidence and don't try to
Thank you, Ajahn.
lessen what you're saying.
Yeah,
because you have a valid view and ideas and opinions, for whatever you are talking about. Okay, here's one thing that you added that I think is really important for our definition, is something that nobody else brought up yet. Vipassana is a practice. This surely is a really important part of our definition of what vipassana is. We don't need to talk about self and non-self, but surely we need to say that this is a practice that is done. This is not a teaching of opinion. This is not a philosophy. of some kind. This is not a belief that Buddhists have, that non-Buddhists don't have. Vipassana is a practice. So I'm very sure that when we come to make our definition, we need to include this idea. This is a practice that can be done. So that's a very important part of our definition. I still don't think we got a good definition yet, though. What do you think? Do you think we have a good definition yet? Somebody else, please. By the way, if you were answering the question from a 15-year-old school girl or boy in England, what is Vipassana, they would still be very confused. Nobody yet has come out with a clear answer to that question for somebody who doesn't already know Buddhist practice. So next person, please. We have Miss Zinwin Tu. We have Miss Mei Ke Kang.
Yes, Ajahn. Good morning, Ka.
Good morning.
So I can say, simply saying, is the Vipassana practice is the insight meditation.
Is that it?
Yeah, simple.
Can you
Insight
tell us what is insight meditation?
When if I have chance to teach the meditation practice to other people, I can say insight meditation means being aware of everything arising and disappearing in your mind and body, Brahmarupa, here and now. I can teach this.
Being aware of everything arising and disappearing in the mind and body.
Yes, from mind and body, here and now.
Here and now.
Yes.
Okay, and what does this awareness do? Why do we want it?
Observing every phenomena in your body is a feeling or suffering or painful suffering, or in your mind sadness or something like that. Yes, everything you can observe and notice and just seeing without judgment, just seeing.
Okay, and again though, I want to ask you again, why?
Why? For arriving at the ultimate happiness.
Okay, there's a big jump between being aware of everything arising and happiness disappearing and ultimate happiness. Suddenly you've jumped.
Yes, because I have a reason. Because by observing everything is arising and disappear, everything disappear, not forever, not permanent, right? So a very pure mind, yes, non-suffering mind. So ultimately, we can arrive at the happiness, in my opinion. By
I am this 15-year-old schoolboy from England, and now I'm even more confused. Suddenly we get the idea, ultimate happiness. Where did this come from? Again, I want to stress you are correct.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you are incorrect in what you say, but it's very confusing to this newcomer. I do like by the way, thank you for that. You can mute your microphone. This idea without judgment is very common in Vipassana that we just observe. I would question this. It's more than we need to go into today, but I would question, is it without judgment? Because most of practice that we do involves judgment. That is, right effort means we cultivate what is kusala, we reject what is akusala. The Buddha described mindfulness as like a gatekeeper. You let the kusala in, you keep akusala out. We will talk more about this on one of the later days. I want to come back to this, but I do note that this idea of judgment or just observing rather than trying to manipulate and change is quite important. I also think quite important what you just mentioned. You said ultimate happiness. We need to mention some kind of goal. Surely, when we talk about vipassana, we must have some kind of goal, like why are we doing it? So I'm not sure ultimate happiness is the best description for that, but we definitely need to bring in the idea of why we are doing it. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, please, somebody else. I still don't know. Here I am, this 15-year-old schoolboy from England. I don't know about Buddhism, and I've asked somebody, what is Vipassana? And still, we've got lots of words here, 3 characteristics, self-transformation, understand the truth, practice. But you've just confused me. My poor little schoolboy mind is now completely confused. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I tried again.
Yeah.
Now this time I tried including practice. Okay, what is Vipassana? The Vipassana is the practice of truly understanding your mind and body. Truly understanding.
Okay. You want the word truly, okay.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to ask the question, if I want to understand my body, surely I go and study biology or medicine. That's how I understand the body. If I want to understand the mind, I go and study psychology, surely.
Yeah, you're right. Huh? It's still confusing.
Right? It's not easy, right? This is the point I want to keep bringing across to everybody. It's not easy to bring your ideas into a short, clear sentences that will help somebody understand. We want to Donald Trump it. A few years ago, there was a storm that hit the country, Puerto Rico, the islands which are near America. And Donald Trump wanted to explain why Puerto Rico had such destruction from this hurricane. And he said, Puerto Rico is an island surrounded by big water. And everybody laughed at him and mocked him, like, big water. That's the kind of language you use with a 5-year-old, not with intelligent people. But that's the point. When he used the term big water, is a nice, clear, simple, descriptive thing. This is why Puerto Rico was damaged by the hurricane. It's surrounded by big water. That's where hurricanes form. So we want to get to this Donald Trump thing. We want to find nice, simple, clear sentences to explain. Somebody else, please, that we haven't heard from yet. Yushio Wang. I can't remember who came up yet. Please, somebody we didn't hear from yet. We need everybody to participate.
Pandit, I would like to add on. I think this is also one key important thing of the Buddhism. Let's say in the last sentence, a practice of truly understanding mind and body with a will to get out of the suffering. I think that's the key concept of the Buddhism that Buddha taught, that not to our ultimate happiness, but to get out of the suffering.
Okay, so let's say the intention to end suffering. So this key part of Buddhism, we should note you can't end suffering because people are going to suffer in the world. You can end your own suffering. So again, if we say end suffering, people can think, well, then I need to make a charity and raise money, and then we need to feed poor people in Africa. We need to give mental health treatment to drug addicts in Los Angeles. I mean, how do you end suffering? So end one's own suffering, maybe.
To end our own suffering.
Okay. So it's good. Somewhere we need to bring in this concept of suffering or dukkha, right? Several times people mention 3 characteristics. So that needs to be in there. That's the intention of what we are doing. We're not observing just because we like to observe. We are observing because we can end suffering. I would just pair this with something somebody said earlier, which nobody so far has picked up on, but I think is a very important term, is purification of mind. This surely must be a key part of any description that we are doing. We're not just being aware of everything so that we can end suffering. That's a big jump. We are doing the practice in order to purify the mind. If we can purify the mind, we can come to the end of suffering or ultimate happiness. So you see, there is a cause and effect when we bring in the word purification. So I'm adding that word in because I think that's actually what Kumirat just was talking about. In order to end your own suffering involves purification. So, okay, go ahead. Somebody else? Yes. Hello, hi.
I want to add one word. It's like you seeing clearly by yourself, by your heart, it's not by your mind. I think this is what Vipassana means for me, because now I'm practicing here. I really understand all the Buddha's teachings by my body, not by my mind. So I think this is the difference between Vipassana and biology things, psychology things, because that is the knowledge.
Okay, can you just give us like a 3-sentence description? If you are meeting somebody, I don't know, in China or somewhere, and they say, oh, you've been to practice Vipassana in Thailand, what is it? So now explain, what is it in a few sentences?
It is a way to see clearly about yourself and the world. Technique about this.
Okay,
I will describe like this.
And how does that work?
And it's because by practice Vipassana, you purify your mind, then you make your mind to see the world more clearly. Yeah.
But surely I can see the world clearly already.
No, actually, because you're never living in the present moment. But when you practice Vipassana, you're living, you really know how to live in at the present moment, and you also know what's is the real meaning about your nature. Because combined of these two things, then you can purify your mind and see the world more clearly.
Okay, so seeing the world more clearly. Again, though, for most people, seeing the world clearly means to watch the news, understand politics and war and psychology and food production and farming and fishing. This is how you see the world more clearly.
It's like,
so what does it mean?
You experience by yourself, but watching news and reading is you use your mind. But Vipassana is you using your body to understand.
Okay, So you're doubling down on this idea, understanding by body rather than understanding by opinion. And how do I do that?
By practicing vipassana, you do the sitting meditation,
But
walking
that's my
meditation.
question. I'm here as somebody who doesn't know, and I say, "Oh, you've been to Thailand. You've done vipassana meditation. What is vipassana?" You cannot answer by practicing vipassana. I'm here and I'm asking you, what is vipassana? Okay, should we go on to somebody else? I'll let you think about it.
Okay.
Somebody else I haven't heard from yet, please. We've got some people in here, Wu Jun and Liu Huryong and Ain't Shun and Zir. I can't even, all of these names I can't pronounce. Okay, so here's what we'll do. I will take 15 minutes, stay online, but I want you to write out in 3 sentences, what is Vipassana? You can use these ideas. I leave them on the screen here. You can use some of these ideas. Write out what is Vipassana, and then in 15 minutes, I'll come back and ask you, each of you, put your answer into the chat. And then we can, then I will read off each of the answers in the chat, and we'll see if we have arrived at a good definition of Vipassana or not. Okay? 3 sentences, write it down, short, clear answer for what Vipassana is in your words, your opinion. If you were trying to explain to somebody who doesn't know about Buddhism, what is Vipassana? So 15 minutes, please work on your 3 sentences, and then when you're ready, put it into the chat. I will also do the same. Okay. Based on what we said today, I'm going to put my own reply into the chat. Okay, so everybody that answers the question in the chat, I've marked down as participating in today's discussion. So a lot of people still did not participate. So in order to go through the course, you have to participate in every session. So first answer, this is Zin Win 2. In my opinion, again, just be careful of saying in your opinion. I know that in this context is okay, but if you are talking to people generally outside, or people come to you and ask you about these terms, be careful with saying just in my opinion, because you are trying to say, well, I'm not so important, or I'm not so correct. Clear language is better. Vipassana is focusing on the present moment. The past, we can't do anything because it's happened. What we can do is learn lessons from the past that we did. The future, it hasn't happened yet. So instead of thinking and worrying about the future, do the best at the present moment. Can you all see this in the chat? Maybe I can highlight. So this is a better description, but still a bit confusing. I like the emphasis about the present moment. Vipassana should be observing in the present moment. That's an important part. The past is gone, the future is uncertain. There was a saying about this. Was the Bade Karata Sutta says, we don't know, the things in the past are gone already, the things in the future we don't know about. Who knows when death is going to occur to us? So we apply mindfulness. I will pull up the sutta. Okay. What do we give? Add A, B, C, or D for this answer? What do you think? Now, I'm not grading people on their answers. I'm just asking you what you think. Is this a good description? Second description we have, based on what we've talked about today, Vipassana is a meditation technique that trains the mind to observe thoughts and feelings without judgment. By paying attention to your breath and body sensations, you develop deep self-awareness. Over time, this practice helps to purify your mind and build inner peace. Personally, I think this is a really good description. In here, we have observed thoughts and feelings. A lot of emphasis that we had today was just on the observing the body, but really thoughts and feelings are really important, or more important to observe than just the body. Without judgment comes to that idea that we are viewing what is really happening rather than what our opinions are or thoughts are. So observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. Great. By doing this, you develop deep self-awareness. Good. It's cause and effect. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is what will result from it. Will help to purify the mind and build inner peace. Good. I like this word build, because build has a connotation. It suggests that by doing this practice over and over, we are gaining something. We are gaining an expertise. We are building something. We're not just watching without judgment. We are building something important. Okay, good. So next one, which was Emma. Vipassana is a meditation technique that, through observing the body and mind, allows one to understand in a clear, direct, and immediate way the characteristics that all phenomena share: impermanence, insubstantiality, and absence of self. This is a very accurate description, but it does lead to some questions like, what is insubstantiality and what is absence of self? Very accurate, but certainly would need some more explanation. Unsatisfactory. we will come to this question on the three characteristics. Unsatisfactory, insubstantiality are both translations of dukkha, or suffering. So we need to get clear on these terms. Okay, just in your own mind, what do you think? A, B, C, or D? What do we give for that explanation? Next one, Vipassana is a meditation that helps you live in the now. It teaches you to watch your thoughts and feelings without getting stuck in them. This helps you see things clearly and understand yourself better. I really like this explanation because it's giving cause and effect. It's not just saying what Vipassana is, but how it works without getting stuck in thoughts and feelings. I think anybody with a human experience will have the experience of getting stuck in thoughts and feelings or getting overpowered by thoughts and feelings. This is a really nice way to say that you are separating yourself from the processes. By observing the process of body and mind, you separate yourself from it and you gain some kind of freedom or liberation. So I think that's important here. It's got the idea of freedom. In fact, I think that should have been one of the key terms we put. When we talk about purification, what that really means is freedom. Freedom or liberation. This statement here, without getting stuck in them. You see how nice and clear and simple that language is? Anybody can relate to that, getting stuck in thoughts and feelings. If we talk about purification of consciousness, nobody, I mean, what does that really mean? But we talk about not getting stuck in thoughts and feelings. That's, Donald Trump would be proud of you. So yeah, very good. Nice language there. So next one, Vipassana is a way to practice in Buddhism, which involves observing body and mind with a view to understanding the true nature of oneself and then reflecting to transform the way that we see the world. For instance, all things are subject to change, etc., in order to live our lives more peacefully, focused, and more aware. That's one of the longest sentences I've read in a month. There's a really long sentence. Really would emphasize this over and over again. If you want to speak clearly, you have to use short, simple sentences. So that's a long sentence that you have to read a couple of times to really understand. But again, correct in yes, we're observing, we're trying to get to true nature, we're trying to transform. I wouldn't use the word etc. because if you use the word etc., that implies the person who's listening to you knows what you mean already, because we have to know what etc. means. So that's a tricky word to use. Living more peacefully. Why did none of us mention earlier this word peacefully? We should have mentioned that, right? I'm going to actually write that down. Peacefully is very important. Part of the idea of purification is to attain to peace. Okay, so we come to Venerable Sobhana. Vipassana is to understand the nature of mind and body by observing three characteristics. 2, Vipassana means to release from attachments. 3, Vipassana is to be self-possessed. The way of writing 1, 2, 3 like this is a really good way to use short, simple sentences, short, simple ideas. So by using numbers in that way, it makes it short, simple statements. However, he does say by observing 3 characteristics, but doesn't say what those characteristics are. So if you are using this explanation for somebody, they're going to have more questions rather than gaining an answer. Again, that's one of the problems that we have. When you know about a subject yourself, it's hard to explain it without assuming the listener also knows the subject. So when he says observing 3 characteristics, that assumes that the listener knows already what the 3 characteristics are. And this is always the problem with experts in anything. Experts in aviation or aeroplanes or deep sea diving or psychology or qigong. The expert always has a problem of putting it into language that a non-expert will understand. So I want to be clear, our exercise here is to put these Buddhist ideas into language that everybody can understand. Okay, next one. So Miss Mie Kang, hope I say that correctly. Vipassana is a meditation practice to understand clearly who you are, where you are from, and how to make your life in the right way with happiness. So I like this emphasis on life in the right way with happiness. I would strongly suggest that Vipassana is not just observing. We are observing in a particular way with a particular focus. And one of those focuses is the way that we live right in life in the right way. This word right is a translation of samma. So it's not just sati and samadhi, it's samma sati, samma samadhi, samma vayama, samma ditti, the right way to do things, not the wrong way to do things. So certainly Vipassana, any definition of Vipassana needs to include this living in the right way with happiness. Yeah, I wouldn't get into dependent origination just yet. We will talk about that in one of the, probably tomorrow. Here's what I came up with. Vipassana is a meditation practice. Short, simple language, right? Nobody mentioned that yet. You all assumed that people know it's a meditation practice, but you didn't tell them. Should be the first thing you say. This is a way of meditation that uses intense observation of body and mind rather than simply focusing attention onto a fixed meditation object. Here I want to distinguish between Vipassana and Samadhi. But I can't say Samadhi because I'm assuming the person doesn't understand. So I say we are observing the body and mind, not just meditating on an object. One observes phenomena directly, moment to moment, feelings in the body and mental states as they arise and cease. This is a description of what the practice is. The practice should lead to insight into the human experience and the purification of consciousness. So my third sentence says why we were doing it. So I'm saying what it is, how you do it, and why you do it in those 3 sentences. That's what I'm trying to do. I will rewrite that because I like some of your ideas about happiness. Vipassana is like a third party observing your body and mind, clearly observing your body and mind, observing the source of troubles and desires. I like this. Troubles and desires, simple, clear language of things that people can relate to. Trying to free yourself from pain, it says what we're trying to do. slowing down your body, mind, and soul to understand the truth is emptiness. Now, that may be true, but you would have to explain what emptiness is. Emptiness is a jargon term, is a Buddhist term. Vipassana is to clearly watch yourself dreaming, clearly know that all phenomena and processes are illusions. Don't be attached. Okay. Again, this would raise more questions than it answers. Is everything an illusion? Is everything dreaming? I would agree with that, but I'm not sure it's a clear explanation. I like that last part. Don't be attached. Then we come to Venerable Zhu Kin. Let me just mark you down as... I said 3 sentences. You only gave me 1 sentence. Vipassana is the practice of directly seeing one's body and mind and purifying attachments. This word attachment is quite important, but we need to examine the meaning of it. Mr. Wu Jun, let me mark you down as present. Vipassana is a practice to see the body and mind clearly in order to achieve the wisdom that ends suffering. Good. We've got practice, we've got what we're doing, and we've got why we're doing it, all in one short, clear sentence. Good. Your mind and body would be like the lotus that rises from the mud, yet remains untouched. That looks like something you copied from the internet somewhere. It's a poetic way to say something, but and accurate. Okay, go on to Bhikkhuni Tuong Nguyen. I do apologize, my pronunciation of all your names, so terrible. I think Vipassana is you focus on observing emotions, thoughts, and sensations without reacting to them. I like that sentence. Observing emotions, thoughts, and sensations without reacting to them. That's a good, clear description of what we are doing in Vipassana. Instead of trying to change what you feel, you simply recognize and accept them as they are. This helps you live more mindfully in each moment. So, it tells us what we're aiming towards, living more mindfully in each moment. And then finally, we have Miss Hurong Liu. Let me mark you down as present. What we try to cultivate is called Vipassana. Consists of 2 words, Vit and Passana. Vit means clearly and Passana means seeing. Now, I'm pretty sure that you've copied this off the internet from somewhere. Vipassana means seeing clearly. Through our practice, we come to see through all physical and mental phenomena. Its inherent 3 natures of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Again, accurate, but not very descriptive. If somebody didn't know Buddhism, they would be confused a little bit by what you mean there. So it's 11 o'clock. We're going to call it to an end there. I have my lunch to get to. We start at what time? 1:30 or 1 o'clock? What time do you come back?
1 o'clock.
Okay. So good. When we come back, I will ask you for 2 paragraphs, explanation of what Vipassana is in 2 paragraphs. Here we just did 3 sentences, but write a reasonably clear definition using what you have seen from everybody else. Okay, I'll see you all at 1 o'clock. Yes, give me thumbs up.
See you.
Okay.